Welcome to Bleav In 76ers with your hosts, former 76ers point guard Eric Snow and two Sixers fanatics in Marcus and Teja Dash. Bleav In 76ers is presented by BetOnline.AG.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your sports betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use promo code BLEAV for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Bleav In 76ers podcast. I'm Marcus Dash here with legendary 76ers point guard Eric Snow and my brother Teja Dash. So the schedule's out, and obviously there's a lot to get into with the Sixers, and we're going to get into all the Harden and Morey stuff this episode, but the schedule's out and we have 29 nationally televised games. So I think Eric and I were right on that whole thing based on our last week's conversation, because I think you were saying 25, Teja, and I think Eric and I
gave a specific number, which no one else did on the show. So you guys said it'd be close to our last season, which was 34.
Yeah, that is close.
It's 5.
So it was 25 to 29.
Yeah, but 25 is not close to 34.
Yeah, that's a 10. You had a 10 drop off, man. You had a 5 drop off.
Wait, hold on. 29 is closer to 25 than it is 34, though.
I know, but 29 is closer to 34 than 25 is.
Yeah. What?
Wait, what?
29 is closer to 34 than 25 is.
Yeah, no, I understand that. But the actual number is closer to
having 9 less games and 5 less games. That's a big difference.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's the difference of 4 national televised games. That's a big deal.
Yeah, I mean the TNT,
especially when they just salivating over the Western Conference.
We have 6 less. We have 6 less TNT, ABC, ESPN games. That's pretty considerable.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that because those are
dropped off.
Those are fewer games, and I don't even think that that's a Sixer thing. That's more of teams elevating, getting those games that didn't get them before.
Yeah.
Well, the Spurs last year wasn't getting a game like that. They weren't getting a game like that.
Yeah.
Phoenix may have gotten some games, but they weren't getting many.
Yep.
Denver wasn't getting any, unless they were a road team.
I bet you OKC got more this year too.
OKC, you know what I'm saying? So it's not necessarily the Sixers doing anything wrong. I think it's just more Western Conference teams that are now and if Zion plays, it's going to be even less.
No,
it's going to be some teams moved. They'll be moved around. They'll be moved around to some national televised games if he plays.
Yeah.
Sixers didn't do themselves any favors with this offseason, though.
I don't even think it's that. Like honestly, I really think it's just the enthusiasm around other teams. Cause I mean, if you look, to me, it's like a stalemate with the Eastern Conference teams. It's like, okay, you got Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Boston, Miami, especially if they get, Dame. But if they don't get Dame, everybody know they're good and they'll be there, but we don't really want them on national TV.
Mm-hmm.
I see that.
But if you get Dame, then yes, that's entertaining. Then you can push them up with the other 3. And outside of that, in the East, the Knicks, if they're playing good, will be looked at in the same eye because same land. And Sacramento, who hasn't got the Golden State, the Clippers or the Memphis and the Lakers and the Clippers, Phoenix and more. You got so many. You got Oklahoma City. You got the Mavericks. Now you got the Spurs. I don't know why, but I mean I do know why. But it's teams that it's so many teams nowadays that are getting looked at out of a different lens than before. The majority of those teams happen to be in the Western Conference. Obviously the Spurs because of the number 1 pick. Oklahoma City, Chet coming back. People want to see that. Phoenix with the moves they made. Clippers always be there. Lakers, all enthusiasm that they have now, especially with the run that they had. Golden State isn't going anywhere. Denver won the championship. Sacramento with the enthusiasm that they had.
Yeah.
You have Minnesota, who has the young talent that they have, especially with Edwards now. So it's just the depth of that conference. I mean, I didn't even mention the Mavericks, who arguably got one of the top guards. Not arguably, he is the top guard, but I'm saying arguably the top guard. So it's just so many teams, and not even Memphis.
Yeah,
who finished top 3. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's more of other teams kind of like increasing, which means that the matchups. So I don't necessarily think it was always the Sixers. Sometimes I think it was who the Sixers are playing. So a lot of times you have a Memphis, Oklahoma City, Minnesota, Mavericks, Spurs.
Pelicans too.
Huh?
Pelicans too.
The Pelicans, you have all of those teams that are Western Conference, but they can play in Eastern time slots.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that matters. Whereas that second time slot is usually all Western Conference teams.
Yeah.
So you just look at the first game of the season, all Western Conference teams. So
4 in California by themselves.
So Denver is getting their trophies at 5:00 p.m. local time.
Yeah.
You know, on what, a Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Won't even be dark outside, and they're getting
trophies.
Just to fit them in the television, so they could showcase the Warriors in Phoenix afterwards.
Mm. Yeah. Looking at the Eastern Conference, so you had Boston had the most in the Eastern Conference of 35 nationally televised games. Milwaukee number 2 with 30, so only one more than us. And then Sixers 29, and then Miami with 24.
Who would you say was number 1?
Number 1 was Boston at 35. Number 2
Eastern Conference?
Yeah, this is just Eastern Conference. Yeah, Boston 35, Milwaukee 30, Sixers 29, and Miami 24.
So Milwaukee got 30?
Yeah.
Wow. Look at that, Teja.
So what do Celtics have?
35.
Okay, so they lost 2. They had 37 last year.
So Milwaukee, that had the best record in the Eastern Conference, 2-time MVP, and won championship within the last few years. Best guy still returning, and they got one more game than us.
Yeah. And you can say Miami with 24. Miami team that went to the Eastern Conference, went to the championship last year.
All right, now do the Western Conference. Do you have it?
I don't have the Western Conference up now.
No, we'll get it later.
Yeah.
They said 20. Bucks had 23 national games last year. That's it?
Really? Wow.
That's what I'm looking at right now.
Huh.
Yeah.
So they went up 7.
That's crazy.
There you go. Our drop off, Milwaukee's gain right there.
I mean, if that's correct, then that's a lot.
They had 23.
No. That can't be right. So August 18th. This year, the Bucks scheduled for 32. They had 32 last year.
Okay. So they went down 2.
They went down 2.
So Boston, Milwaukee went down 2, and then we went down 5.
So everybody went down.
Yeah.
So everybody went down.
We're not alone on that.
We went down more, but yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody went down. Man.
We did. We went down more than double. We went down 5. They went down 2. That's a big difference.
You went down more than who?
Those 2 teams. We went down 5. They went down 2. We went down more than theirs combined. That's all.
Yeah, but it's one less game than Milwaukee.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Milwaukee was the number 1 seed.
We had more than them last year. I didn't know. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, there was a lot of hype around us last year. You know,
there's hype around Milwaukee every year, though.
But look, you got to realize that, like last year, you.
Last year was definitely Harden related.
No, I'm saying last year also didn't have the multitude of teams that were coming in with a new enthusiasm. The Kings hadn't made the playoffs.
Spurs
weren't there. Phoenix was
Phoenix, same thing.
Same. The Clippers. I mean, it was
Clippers
like
same.
okay, came off. They were there.
Lakers, the Lakers. I'd say okay.
Lakers had the Lakers hype from
Lakers are Lakers
and having LeBron, obviously.
I'd say Denver has a lot more.
They have right now. Denver totally stole games.
Denver has a lot more. OKC, Kings, and Spurs. Those are the biggest ones, I'd say.
Phoenix played on national TV 3 times in the first week. That wasn't happening last year.
Oh, this upcoming year.
This year. They played 3 times in the first 5 days of the season.
I wonder what their difference is from last year to this year.
Well,
Suns 2022.
I think they played Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, like whatever it is, like 3 straight. No, Friday. Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. All national TV.
Damn. Wait, so they have the Thursday night ESPN or Thursday night TNT, then the Friday night ESPN?
At the Warriors, at the Lakers, and then home against someone.
Damn.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Everyone got cut because of the Suns. They went from 22 to 37.
Holy.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's a lot.
Plus 15.
Hey, man, they spent that do-re-mi. That's what they did.
No, I'm just saying. That's what I was saying. Like, when you were like us dropping, I'm like, it ain't really what we're not doing. It was just more of those Western Conference teams moving up.
Dude, 37 is like almost half their schedule.
That's what I'm saying. They're going to be there all the time. Yes.
That's crazy, man.
And look, they had 22. Where were they? Like you said, 22?
22. Yeah, this is correct.
That team that was a top 4 team. Top 4 seed.
Yeah, see, that might be wrong then, because this one says 34 from last year. I don't like keep getting these stupid.
Yeah, I can't see them having 34.
22 didn't. Yeah, well, 22 sounds low too, though.
You don't even need to get league pass if you're on the national TV that much.
But also, like it also depends on what's considered national TV too. On some people may not consider
that NBA TV. Yeah, that might be what it is. Maybe
that might be the difference. NBA TV may be the difference. Some of them consider national TV, some of them don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because not all providers carry it.
I know when I played the NBA TV, obviously it was just started at the end of my career, and it wasn't. People didn't look at it as national TV.
Yeah.
Well, I know now it's out more and about, so people know it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be it though, because I think it was 30. It said 34, 11 ESPN, 9 TNT. That's 20, 2 ABC, and 12 NBA TV. Yeah, there you go. That was the difference.
Yes, it's NBA TV
plus NBA TV 34.
Yes.
Okay, so it's 3. So they have 3 from last year.
Yeah.
37 is a lot either way.
It is a lot, yeah. But I bet you all those Spurs is huge because Spurs probably had like 1 last year.
Yeah, Spurs probably had like 0. Yeah, I couldn't imagine them having any last year. Maybe a few NBA TV games, but that's about it.
Spurs. I can't even find it because they probably didn't list it. It's hard. Yeah, I can't even find it.
I can't say the Spurs had more than 5. 3 to 5 games.
All right, that's this year. Okay. This year? What do they have this year? They have 1.
Oh, they got
2, 3,
20 this year. 15 and 20.
6. Let me see.
Most of them probably early in the season too.
Yeah. While they're still relevant.
Yeah, before they start fading.
Yeah. Or when they hold him out when they're already like last place. Yeah, it's hard to find because I don't think they had many.
But I mean, it's not a bad thing, the league as a whole, everyone's kind of raising their game a little bit, so
it's good to do, especially, while football's going on. I mean, football is, we all know it's going to have all the thunder. So
yeah,
why not kind of get some enthusiasm about other teams?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
You can start honing in as the season goes on and play the popular teams and play the winning teams. And, they may need a flex schedule like the NFL.
Does that not exist in the NBA? Does that not already exist?
Like TV schedule?
Yeah.
I don't think it does on ABC. Does it, Teja?
What's that?
Did the NBA have a flex schedule on ABC? I know ESPN and they may have that. I don't know if they have it in TNT.
That's a good question. I'm not sure, actually.
Be a good system to go to.
Yeah, so someone said they had a few games last year, so maybe like 2.
I told you it wasn't that many.
This year they have, guess.
21.
You're pretty close.
I said 15 to 20.
19.
Yeah,
Damn.
15 to 20. Yeah.
So
And most of them, and like
That's
I said,
where everyone's.
that's why I said most of them are
Into.
early, and most of them are probably earlier in the season.
Yeah,
because I know they're the only team that have 3 of the in-season tournament games on national TV.
Oh, wow.
The only team.
Huh.
No one else has more than 2.
That's crazy, man.
And they're taking advantage of them early.
Yeah.
And I think they said they'll have the most nationally televised in-season tournament games. Spurs.
Yes,
That's what you just said. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, just reading that. Yeah. It's crazy, man.
But 29 is still a solid number, so I'll take 29.
Yeah. It's still enough to have to buy the league pass.
Yes, that's for sure.
Kings have 22.
Yeah, and they probably didn't have a lot last year.
No, probably not. I'd say probably like
22 is not a lot for what they did, though.
Yeah.
That's not a lot. I mean, especially you got 22 and the Spurs got 19.
That's true.
they had 9 last year.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big jump, but I'm just saying, like, they were the number 3 seed.
Yeah.
So between the Spurs and Kings, they had to take away a lot of games from people.
Now you see what I was saying. They all of those Western Conference teams that took leaps, they added those games, so it got to come from somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
OKC might be the other one. OKC had 4 last year, 13 this year.
Yes.
There you go. Between those 3 teams, like 9, like 16, so 25, and then like 38.
And so, and you can't have it to where the national TV games. That's why when you look at the beginning of the year, it's like you look at the Sixers' top quote unquote games of the season. So, on record right now is the opener and Christmas Day, Bucks in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
the top 4 teams, both on the road.
Great, yeah.
And by the way, I did tell y'all it would be a place that you would enjoy.
You did?
Yeah, you're right about that. A little far away from home for them, but they'll have a good time.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe they did that so Harden would stay a little longer. We're going to be in Christmas in Miami.
There you go.
That's
James?
a primetime game, too, the 8 p.m. slot for that one.
Come on, James, stick around.
Is it 8 p.m.?
It's the 8 p.m. slot.
That's interesting.
It is interesting.
No,
because I thought that was going to be because I read originally they reported that it was going to be the it was going to be like the second game of the day, but no, it's the 8 p.m. slot, which is good for us Chief fans, because we have the 1 o'clock game, so we want to be able to put the Raiders to bed and then go take on the Heat at night.
What are you talking about? The Raiders? The who?
No, I'm saying it's good. That's good. The Sixers play at 8 o'clock because us Chiefs fans, we have the Raiders at 1 o'clock on Christmas Day. So we want to put the Raiders to bed and then go play.
So that's the only game that's a Monday night game. Is it other games that day?
There's 3 games that day. The Eagles
on the Monday.
Yeah, on the Monday. The Eagles play the Giants at 4:30. So
they're trying to take over Christmas Day.
Yeah.
No, not trying. They're about to. Christmas Day better hurry up and run on a Tuesday through Thursday or something.
Yep.
Yeah. They have multiple different sporting events for different TVs in the living room. have a Christmas movie on the 2 different NBA and NFL games on next to it.
The small TV is the Christmas movie. The other big ones are for the game.
Yeah. But as we mentioned, though, it was kind of another kind of a chaotic week within the Sixers world, like a soap opera, like kind of week. So James Harden kind of sent shockwaves through the entire NBA world, and you can say sports world in general with his comments in China. So if you haven't seen the video, James Harden was in China, and he said, quote, Daryl Morey is a liar, and I will never be a part of an organization that he's a part of. Let me say that again. Daryl Morey is a liar, and I will never be part of an organization that he's a part of. Then a little while later, Jason Dumas reported Daryl Morey's unmoved by James's comments. He's holding firm in his stance that he will not trade him unless it makes the Sixers a better team. Meanwhile, James's agent advised him against even making that statement. So a couple questions on this one. Obviously, it's a pretty big topic. But do you guys, there's been kind of a debate as to what the lie is that James is talking about. Do you guys think the lie is that if he opted in, he'd get traded fast? Or do you think the lie has something to do with him taking a pay cut last summer because he was promised an extension this summer? If you were to make a kind of a guess on that.
If I was to make a guess, I would say the taking the less of the contract. Because he really had all the leverage and he had no reason to take less other than to help the team get better. And that's how it was viewed from all of us.
Yep.
To you take $16 million or less or whatever, you do that, and we all felt like, okay, let's who are we going to go get since he took less money? Especially Teja all in people's pocket, so he knew all about it. He was ecstatic that he made that decision. You know what I'm saying?
I loved it.
So I say that's it. I mean, I think this year him opting in just confirmed, solidified his feelings. But I think the root of it was, hey, I did you a favor. You're supposed to take care of me. And there's really nothing James can say about it because then, we going into something that maybe was illegal.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think about what Perk said on the show recently? He said he knows where Morey James needs to be careful because Morey knows where all the bodies are buried.
I'm not sure what Perk was thinking, but I think that's maybe some more personal stuff. Out of my lane. I think that Perk's being a little more personal. I'm just looking at more of a business decision here.
Calling someone a liar is pretty personal, though, right? I mean, that's a personal shot at him as a person, not just.
Well, maybe he did lie to him. Maybe he did, and it wouldn't be the first. He wouldn't be the first GM that lied to somebody. I mean, Chris Paul said Morey lied to him.
Yeah, but the thing about the Chris Paul thing is, I read reports. I read an article from a few years ago. Harden was the reason why Morey got rid of Chris Paul.
I'm just saying that's ironic, but it don't change the fact that Chris said he lied to him.
It's very ironic. It's like,
it's ironic, but it doesn't change the fact that Chris said he lied to my face.
Yeah, sure, but he lied for Harden, really.
I'm just saying, he the first GM to lie to somebody.
No, of course. I mean,
if he's lying to James Harden, then you can pretty much know that he can lie to everybody.
Yeah.
I think that's where some of the personal thing comes. It's like, I've seen you lie to a lot of people. You lied to Chris Paul for me. You lied to Westbrook. You lied to so-and-so. You don't lie to me, though. I'm the guy you're honest to. Like, I was supposed to be the guy.
James the difference with all those other guys and with James can pretty much say, you getting all this credit for being this guy, and a lot of that comes from me.
Yeah.
He can say that to him. And a lot of people would believe him and back him.
Yep. Yeah, they're tied together in a lot of regards.
So
until one of them wins without the other one.
Yeah, so I sort of think, that's where it's different. That's where we don't know. So a lot of like you said, what Perk was saying, I think Perk may have a point, but like I said, I don't know. I believe that that's a little more personal and out of my lane, so I won't even touch it.
It's not like Morey can come out and say where the bodies are buried. No player would ever trust him ever again. He can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but if there's bodies for James, it may not be the only person there's bodies for.
Yeah, that's also true. That means you knew that bodies were being buried. So
yeah.
You're going to jail too. I mean, but you buried them. Okay. Yeah, I just don't. It sucks. I think that's the only unfair thing is that Morey can't really defend himself, because if he does, then he'd have to personally go at James, which I think would impact, how he's looked at amongst the league, worse than it already is. Because I mean, James already called him a liar, right? So, I agree. I think the lie is definitely referring to the wink pay cut. There's also a recent report that said whether he was promised it or not. The source indicated Harden was under the impression that if he opted out, he would resign with Philly on a max deal. So my question is, why opt in then? If that was the impression and you were never told no or yes, I mean, obviously he got some kind of.
I mean, that's the thing about it. He could have been, and we don't know. Honestly, I'm just making.
Yeah, we're all speculating.
Just making an observation here and speculation that he could have been told he was going to be traded if he opted in. We don't know.
But the initial thing is it was said that he didn't get a long-term deal, but you don't.
So just look at the first
the
report.
Timeline's messed up because we weren't allowed to negotiate with him.
The first report that we seen about this was from whoever these beat writers are that try to be the first to report everything. It was James Harden is opting into his contract, and he and the Sixers are going to work on a trade.
Yes,
to send him somewhere.
Yes,
it wasn't James Harden is opting in and he wants to be traded. That isn't how it was worded. And I can guarantee you, if it came from Woj, it came from the Sixers.
But it sounded like he was opting in only to be traded.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm saying if he's opting in to be traded and then he opts in and then that agreement changes.
Yeah. No, but my thing is though.
I'm just saying like that could have happened. They could have been like working on a deal. We're not going to give you this deal. Okay, well, we agree to disagree.
But they didn't work on a deal.
You sign in, we'll work. Well, I want to just trade me. Okay, you opt in, we'll trade you. And then he opts in, and then all of a sudden, we don't like the deal.
But the reports were they didn't work on anything because you're not allowed to even negotiate with your own free agents. And by the way, that was the last year that's true. From now on, you can negotiate with your own free agents before the start of free agency. This was the last year you couldn't do that. So they weren't even allowed to negotiate.
What I'm saying is James is technically not a free agent until he decides on that deal.
But he hadn't opted out, so technically he was still
a player.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Right? Or did he opt out and then opt in? Because technically he has the deal. He has the option for it. The deal was already done. It wasn't like he had to negotiate to opt in. It was already a contract signed.
But
he had to.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's where
he's his own player. Yeah.
That's where it's different. It wasn't like he signed a 1-year deal and then he had another deal to come. He signed a 2-year deals with an option.
Yeah.
One is an option.
But the way I understood it when I read it was they weren't allowed to talk contract until the start of free agency.
Yeah, they weren't allowed to talk future contracts. But they can talk about the contract. So if you're talking about the contract, who are we kidding if we think they're not talking about future contract?
But they said because of the tampering charges last year, they weren't doing it.
Yeah, the NBA, they came out, they investigated that aspect of it last year, and they didn't find anything when Harden took less last year.
Yeah. No, but because
I
of the
understand all those rules. I understand all those rules, and I understand what they're telling you. But trust me when I tell you, it was conversation.
And he knew they weren't going to give him the deal he wanted.
It was conversation. It was communicated to him. Don't opt out. We not look, if you James Harden, right? and you James Harden's agent, if his agent is doing his job, there's no way you can let that deadline go without James having some form of a clue what a deal is going to look like from the Sixers.
And it was definitely less than that number, obviously.
I'm just saying, whatever his deal is going to look like from the Sixers. So if the Sixers come back and say, hey, 3 years, 35 per. What? I don't like that. What do you mean? We can't go past that. Now, maybe during free agency, they could have gone past that. But if you're going into this deadline and that's what they're telling you, you're going to take the risk to go to free agency or you're going to opt in. So you get what you basically find that number out and you be like, oh, okay, dude lying to me because I know what he told me when I took that less deal. Now he want to change. And like I said, I'm just being out of James' mind.
Sure.
But now he want to change it up. Man, I won't trade, man. Tell them trade me, man. I'll opt in if they trade me.
To be fair, though, the rules changed.
I'm just giving you a perspective.
No, yeah, I get it.
I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just, in my experience, I'm kind of giving you the closest example of how I think it played out. And from a Sixers standpoint, I think they might have encouraged him to opt in because even if you don't want to pay James, if James has made a lot of money in the NBA, James can be like, all right, I'm going to go to free agency. And I'm going to take less and go somewhere else. James go to some people and be like, hey, I'm taking 15 to 20. He would have had quite a few teams come and knock it.
Yeah.
But we know he's not going to do that because his value is more.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, if he would have done that, teams would have came and the Sixers would have been empty. So where James, people say he didn't have leverage. I mean, he has some leverage. It's just whether he was willing to make that sacrifice to have that leverage.
Well, we know, yeah, it doesn't sound like he wanted to.
It don't sound like the Sixers did too.
Brian Toporek posted a snippet of Harden's quote last year when people asked him why he made the deal he made, right? Quote from Harden: I had conversations with Daryl, and it was explained to me how we could get better and what the market was for certain players. I told Daryl, improve the roster, sign who we need to sign, and give me whatever's left over. This is how bad I want to win. I want to compete for a championship. That's all that matters for me at this stage. I'm willing to take less to put us in the position to accomplish that.
Yeah, that you hear that one way. The way I hear that is whenever people ask you about it, make sure we don't get in trouble for this deal. We negotiate it.
Yeah.
That's how I take that. Knowing what I know about what James has accomplished in this league, and the numbers that I know he could have commanded. That's what I take from that.
But publicly, publicly,
that's what you say publicly. Yes.
To a public ear, to a fan.
Yes.
He sounds like a liar now, though.
Not necessarily.
He's saying the exact opposite right now, though.
Well, he hasn't said anything other than him being a liar.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know what he's saying he's lying about, really.
He hasn't said anything else.
Yeah, but it's over only getting 35 million. Same he got last year.
We don't know because it may be the years more than the money. We don't know. He hasn't said anything else to compare it to.
Mm.
Well, we know he's not happy with that.
Yes, but we don't know why. So the other time, but what I'm saying is he gave a quote and we looked at that quote. Now he hasn't given the quote and we put the quote on it.
Mm.
He hasn't said anything. He hasn't said anything about his contract.
But
he
we
said,
agree,
I was a liar.
We agree the lie is
anybody I don't want to be a part of any organization he's a part of.
But we all agree that the lie he's referring to is not getting a contract extension for near max money.
Well, we don't know because it could have been I should have just took my max money when I was able to take it, and I took less. So he could be talking about that.
If he was promised this whatever deal with Morey, whatever it was, why would the reports of him trying to leverage Houston come out in December?
I don't know why a guy would, you think a guy would take $16 million less. That's 33 plus or whatever he was, 32 plus, and take $16 million less, and then take a shorter deal, basically a 1 year deal. Why? Why?
Yeah, but why not though? Chris Paul's been doing it for the last 3 seasons.
Chris Paul is older than James was.
But when he signed that contract initially, he wasn't. He was James Harden's age now.
Right now, but not 2 years ago.
No, 2 years ago when he signed the deal, he was what, 35 when he did that? 34?
That's what I'm saying. 2 years ago, James wasn't 35.
No, I'm saying, but when Chris Paul signed a non-guaranteed $30 million per season, he was like 35, 34.
That's what I'm saying. He's James' age now. I'm saying he wasn't James' age 2 years ago. We talking about James 2 years ago, not this year. We're talking about
but I'm talking about James like right now. Why he thinks that number is so unfair.
Yeah, but I think right now isn't the issue. I think the issue was when he took the deal he just took
last season. Okay, he was a year younger.
That deal was the deal that messed him up. And I'm saying if you go back, I guarantee you, if he go knowing what he knows right now, there's no way he takes that deal.
All right, I took a little time to put this together, so let me.
No, I want you to just hear me out right here.
Okay.
Do you know what James knows right now? Do you think he would have taken that deal?
Dude, he would have taken the Brooklyn extension like 3 years ago.
I'm saying, like, yes. So if you believe that, then that tells me that you believe that he trusted Daryl Morey.
I'm saying he should have taken it with Brooklyn 2 years ago.
No, I'm just saying if you believe that he would, knowing what he knows now, he would have just said, no, I want my max money last summer. And y'all just going to have to figure out how to improve the team on your own.
Yeah, you should have played hardball.
Yes. So that tells you about the relationship. That tells you all you need to know about the relationship.
So I tried to put together a timeline here. Okay. So this is dating back a little bit. Sorry. Stop me whenever you have questions, comments, whatever.
I don't know. I know you was everybody pocket. So, you know.
No, I don't do that much contract stuff here. It's everything. Okay. So Morey leaves Houston, goes to Philadelphia. Harden wants out of Houston, criticizes players, not being good enough, yada, yada, yada. There were a lot of reports that he wanted to follow Morey to Philly, but the owner, Fertitta, wouldn't do it, so they sent him to Brooklyn. Brooklyn offered him a max. He didn't take it. Tons of rumors about James wanting out of Brooklyn, how he didn't like the whole Kyrie Vax stuff, how him and Durant weren't talking for a little while. He told management he wanted out. And then they had a press conference where they asked him, and he said, no, I don't want to be traded. Harden then had a reported trip to Vegas night before a game. He had the famous quit game versus the Kings, which was the last straw for the Nets. They said, don't show up to games till we figure out a trade. And they dealt him, obviously, to the Sixers for Ben. He plays out the rest of the year with Philly. We lose to the Heat. He signs a 1+1 year deal and then took a pay cut where many believe there was a wink where he promised the max this season, right? Sixers are slapped with tampering penalties because we got Tucker and House. Sixers are starting to gel after the slow start last season. Then in December, we hear the first report about James having love for Houston and how him going back was a real possibility. And then we keep hearing more and more reports from different reporters saying the same thing over and over to the end of the season, that he might go back to Houston. Sixers collapse in game 6 and 7 versus Boston, get booted from the playoffs. James has 2 amazing games, 1 good game, and 4 bad games. Harden says he and Doc are okay in his post-game presser. There are reports that Doc and James had a rough time all year. Doc gets fired. Udoka gets hired to Houston, and they ask him supposedly about signing James, where he supposedly said no. Nurse gets hired. Nurse and James supposedly had a good meeting about the direction of the offense. Full CBA changes are released, which sends the league into a frenzy about future cap constraints. Because of last year's tampering, Sixers say they did not negotiate with James because it's actually last year where you can't negotiate with your own team's upcoming free agents before July 1st, which is the opt-in deadline. Houston signs Van Fleet. Harden opts in right before the deadline because he can't receive any offers. Harden wants to be traded. Philly says they'll oblige. Harden says he only wants the Clippers. Clippers and Sixers talk. Clippers lowball the Sixers and won't put man in a trade. Harden's people says he can make it really uncomfortable in camp. Harden says in an interview he understands that there's a give and take with players and team management, and the team can't just give away players on bad deals. Sixers are tired of being lowballed by the Clippers, so they say they're not negotiating with the Clippers anymore, and they want to make it work with Harden. Harden calls Morey a liar, and reports surface that it'll only get worse from here, and his agent says don't say that. A report comes out that the Sixers expected it and expect him still at camp, and then Harden just said in an interview that he thinks it's too late to repair the relationship, and if Harden is traded before opening night, he gets an extra $5 million. Little nugget there. So what does all that mean? I have no idea. But what you said a minute ago brings me back to, if you all go back in time, this whole timeline, I think it's too bad he couldn't come to Philly right away. If he came to Philly right away, I think Morey would have gave him an extension off the bat, and he'd be in like year 3 of his max extension. But Fertitta, you can say it all went wrong when Fertitta wouldn't trade him directly to Philly. That's where it all really went bad.
Yeah.
It's a wild ride, man.
It is a wild ride. And it's
Yeah.
all in like a year, too.
So like I said, if he would have got the deal he won, the max deal last year, from James' perspective, we wouldn't be here. That's where the lie started. Now the Sixers fans, and some Sixers fans, and the Sixers themselves, and you, Teja, always in everybody's pocket, may feel differently about James. Y'all may feel about James the way y'all feel about Tobias. But we wouldn't be here where a guy not showing up for training camp.
Well, maybe.
No, he wouldn't.
He was getting his money in Houston. He didn't show up to training camp.
He didn't show up because they changed the team, right? They weren't trying to win. I'm just saying it wasn't because of him not getting the money.
I know it wasn't. That's my point. There could be.
That's what it is here. That's what it is here.
Yeah.
A guy lied to him. That's what he said it is.
But he opted in. He still chose that 1 year.
And that's what I'm trying to tell you when I said earlier, you're not listening to me. If you think he opted in without a previous conversation of them agreeing that they're going to trade him, you're joking yourself.
I agree.
I firmly believe. Now, this is what I believe. This isn't anybody told me. I believe he opted in because it was communicated to them that they would move him.
Yeah.
And his preferred destination is the Clippers. Now, the Clippers offered a package. The Sixers don't like it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like it wasn't a situation where the Clippers are saying, nah, we good. The Clippers are saying, hey, here's what we offer. Because it was communicated to them. That's where James wanted to be. So we're not going to gut our team for trade for a guy that you already know want to be here.
So Clippers are the jerks.
No, huh?
So Clippers are the jerks. They should up their offer and get them.
Why? The Sixers should. If Sixers didn't want to pay him, why? If you don't value him to pay him, why are you valuing him more to trade him?
But there's a compromise. We're not asking for Kawhi Leonard. We're asking for Terrence Mann.
I'm saying, if you don't value him to pay him, why are you valuing him more in the trade?
Well, there's something.
I've said that before. If you like, okay, nah, we don't think you're worth that. Okay, then trade him then.
Yeah, but I mean,
that's what I never understood about teams. Like I never understood how you don't want to pay a guy, but then when it comes to trade him, you want all of this back.
Hold on, but if I don't want a car anymore, it doesn't mean I'm going to trade you for $5. I still want like market value for the car. I still want what's fair for the car.
The market value is what somebody's willing to pay.
Yeah, and the Clippers aren't paying $45 million either. So forget about what they're willing.
I'm just saying, but market value in the trade is what somebody's willing to give you
in assets.
Yes, but that's why he's not being moved because your market value is not the market value for everyone else. So you're valuing them more than the market.
But the market value isn't higher than 35 million, or else you would have opted out.
What I'm saying is your market, the value that you have for him is more than the market. No one's given the Sixers a trade for how they value James. No one has given them that offer, but yet the Sixers won't pay him at the value that they're offering him for.
The other side of that,
from a team's perspective, I don't understand that. I don't understand how you don't want to pay a guy what he's asking for, but then when he asks for a trade, you want to value him for the value that you won't give him.
That's because they want him for a certain price. They don't.
That's just called leverage, and that's when you get called a liar. That's how you get called one.
But the other part of this is James thinks he's worth more than what the market thinks he is worth. No one wants to pay him that money. No one wants to pay him $45 million.
So if he isn't worth, you think he's worth, and you don't think he's worth that because you're not paying him, then trade him.
Yeah, they like to. They're not going to get skewered in a bad trade, though.
So what's a bad trade? What's a bad trade?
A bunch of it's. I mean, we don't know what the details are.
But is it a bad trade if the money matches?
For expiring contracts?
I'm just saying, but how can the money match? The money match, right? So how bad is it if the money matches?
No, but I don't think we're wrong by saying the Sixers do value James, just not as much as James would like to be valued. But if Morey's sitting here going, I just want to give you like $32 million a year, that's not good enough for James. It doesn't mean, okay, well, I guess we just get to trade you for spare parts now. It means, no, I still think you're an amazing player.
$32 million in spare parts.
Wait, what?
$32 million in spare parts.
Yes, $32 million in spare parts. Yeah. Hey, it's not my fault they gave bad contracts.
Like you said, you talk about the trade in the car. If your car is worth $25,000 and you trade it for another car at $25,000, you still got a $25,000 car.
With an accident on its Carfax. With an accident on its Carfax, with needing repairs.
I'm just saying, like you've shown and I'm being pro player right now. You come in and you saying what I'm worth. Is in negotiating for teams, it's always about what you can't do, what you don't do. And the player perspective is all about what I do and what I've done and who I am. So that's the objective right there. That's where they bumping heads. So if you're telling him now, we don't think you're worth this, we don't think you can do this, and at your age and this and that, and then it's like, but dude, this is what you said. Now you coming and you talking like this? This is who you are?
I will say, though, one big variable in this whole thing is the NBA turned its cap rules upside down. So what they could have offered last year has changed a lot this year. They can't offer that. Maybe if it was the old rules, maybe they would just say screw it and give him what we said we did.
Let me ask you a question. Is James is not there? Is Maxey and Joel gonna get their money next year?
No, someone else is. And Maxey.
No, I'm saying is Maxey. I'm saying there. It's Sixers. Do you think Maxey will get a contract to make him happy, and you think Joel to get a contract to make him happy?
Well, Joel already got his contract.
No, just saying, if he can opt out whenever he opt out. Do you think that those two will get the contract that they command and ask for?
I think Maxey will. Yeah.
Okay. And Joel, obviously, right?
Well, yeah, he got his.
No, he's gonna get another one.
Well, now he got 4 years. Yeah, sure.
I'm just saying they're going to get it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would assume so.
I'm just saying we plan on the same plane that they planned in slight growth for Maxey and Joel being the same dominant player he is, right? You would assume that, right?
Yes.
Okay. So then why not James?
Because James has a noticeable decline.
What did he average this year?
21.
10 points below his career average.
No, what did he average this year? We didn't ask what it below his average, his career average. I said, what did he average this year?
21 points, 10 points.
Like
Okay. So look at his averages to other players that just signed for $40+ million in the league at his position. Because when you make a comparison to other players, it ain't about the yearly value. It's about the length of the deal.
Age also comes into age.
Yes, age comes in length, but not in yearly.
Am I comping just stats or also keeping age in consideration?
Just. I mean, if we hit to know the player, we'll know it's the age difference. Just look at stats and salary for that new deal that the player is getting.
Pretty close, slightly different player, but 25, 5, and 5 from DeMar DeRozan, who made 28.
No. I'm talking about at the point guard position, not DeMar, who's older and plays a different position, and DeMar also don't have a Joel. That's the number one option. So give me some of these young guards that just signed deals.
Yeah, young is the key word, though, Eric.
I know, but they signed 5-year deals, though. We're not talking about a 5-year deal.
So you want to talk about what, like, Halliburton? That's what you want to talk about.
Yeah, you can put him on there.
Halliburton, Van Fleet just signed a good deal.
Yeah, put him on there too.
Ironically, by the team that he was going to leave us for.
Put him on there too. Now compare them to the James numbers.
Yeah, I think Van Fleet's 19, 7, and 4.
Okay.
He's also like the 4th option on that team, though.
But he's also still 19, 7, and 4.
Yes, correct. Okay. He's 29.
Okay.
So, like, you have to.
Yeah, for 5 years you do, not for 2, not for 1 or 2. Not for 1.
Yeah, but we don't know if length is the problem or money is the problem, right?
If length is the problem, I've told you all before. I thought length would be the problem more than how much we made.
Money, you think so?
I've said that. I've said length because if it isn't length, then you got to pay me. If length was the issue, James should have got his max last year.
Yes.
You wouldn't take $16 million less, and then you come and tell me length is the issue. Okay, well, give me the most I can get right now.
Let me ask you, though, like, when you look at a guy like DeRozan, who's 33, a boatload of all-star seasons, how come some guys willingly take less as their career goes, as they age? Like Chris Paul, DeRozan, they're making like around 30,
some of them take less to be in a certain situation.
Mm-hmm.
Certain situation, certain place, certain comfort. And like I said, that's what we were talking about. Russell Westbrook. And we were like, some people's like, why would he take such? And I'm like, yeah, he took less, but he lives there. His family's there. His children now starting school. You live in one house. You don't have to commute. That's a family decision too. So yes, he's taking a huge pay cut, but he's also paying out a lot less.
Mm-hmm.
That's why quotes like that Harden one from last year saying what he prioritizes, which is winning over everything, makes it bullshit.
No, but that's what he said last year.
Why he took that money.
That's what he said last year.
But that's a 1 year opinion. That's a 1 year opinion.
Yes, but now no. That was his deal last year. But now it's a different situation.
Well, no, he said.
Now I'm just saying. Look, now you're not going out. You need space to go get guys. It's a different situation now. I put up 2011 and led the league in assists, and we got the number 3 seed. And now you're telling me we're good.
Now he said that's all that matters to me at this stage, which means stage of your career.
Yes, that's what he said last year.
But that's where he's in the same.
So you trying to tell me your feelings about stuff won't change if you feel like somebody did you wrong a year ago?
But that's at the stage of your career. He's at the same stage.
Can you answer my question? Are you telling me that your feelings won't change if somebody promised you something and did you wrong the next year, that you won't feel differently? You just because of the stage of your career that you're gonna be like, well, is this my stage of my career? I'll just take it.
Well, I'd be like, well, James, judging on your words, you're cool with taking less again.
Yeah, your words is also based on what someone's telling you, or would you believe someone told you, and that's your belief. But if your belief can change, if they change too. There's been tons of times where guys felt one way about a team and then all of a sudden they changed because the situation changed. The teams change about players all the time. They love a player. We love him, having him around, and they trade him the next week.
Correct.
Okay, so what are we talking about?
Yeah, but it sounds like both their opinions.
Chris Paul, we're not going to trade you. We're not going to trade you. The next week he's traded. Who is the general manager?
We already talked about that one, though. Come on, that's not fair.
Okay, so we can't talk about James changing his mind in a year, and that was a week.
That was the please James, but yeah, I got you.
Hey, come on, yeah, but it was a please James, but that had nothing to do with James. That had something to do with Chris and Morey.
No, but James back then is the Joel now. If Joel said get rid of James,
but you're trying to add more to the situation than what we're talking about. We're talking about can the guy change his mind in a year? And I'm saying the guy change his mind in a week.
Morey didn't wake up and didn't like his coffee and was like, all right, Chris Paul's out of here. It was because James called him and was like, dude, get him the F out of here.
Okay, so what I'm saying is if you're saying that people are going to change the way they feel because James, he changed his mind and this and that, then why can't people think the same way about Morey, who said one thing and changed his mind the next week?
Sure, they're both liars.
Thank you. That's the point I'm trying to say.
Oh, no, I agree. They're both liars.
I'm not saying they're both liars. I'm just saying a guy can – I'm not – you're saying
they both change their minds.
I'm saying when situations change, you can change how you view it. So it can be different. Your viewpoint can be different. It doesn't necessarily mean the stage of your career. If James is older, right, and he's balling out, and then the Sixers get new ownership, they like process. He could be like, man, I'm a diehard Sixer. I don't never want to leave. And they come in and he's whatever his age is, and they say process. You think he's gonna say, yeah, I want to stay here. I'm dedicated, or I want to go somewhere else where I can win. I'm just giving you an example of how situations can change based on what somebody said previously.
Well, I think that's what I think we talked about this last week. I think that's what it comes down to. I don't think James loves Philadelphia. I think he.
I firmly believe that.
I think he would sign here, but his price for Philly.
James wouldn't live a day in Philadelphia if he's not playing there. But he's not alone.
Yes.
So a lot of guys that wouldn't. A lot of guys aren't like me that would live in Philadelphia. It's not a lot of guys that plays for the Sixers that, trust me, Philadelphia is not a city that people be like, yeah, I want to live in Philly. I think Philly's a great city, but it isn't for everybody.
No, that's okay. Yeah, but yeah, I think James's price for Philly might very well be different than James's price for the Clippers.
Yeah.
Or Houston. Who knows?
Yeah. At the end of the day, we all know that there was some conversations had, and calling someone a liar is a strong word.
Yeah.
And he said it publicly, which means that he knew it was going to get back to him.
He said twice.
Yes.
If the first one wasn't enough.
Yeah. So we knew it was getting back to him. He wanted it to get back to him. And I think it's a situation, and so for the Sixers to not address it, or more to not address it, but they address it by saying they're unmoved by what he said, that is addressing it.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you though, because I Marcus and I were talking about this recently. I was like, dude, if I'm Harden and I want to go, why would you say that? Because it makes it harder for you to get traded now.
Not necessarily.
Well, then why would his agent tell him not to say those comments then?
Because there's no need to bring attention to him. There's no need to make it about him. That's what I think the liar thing did, was it made the situation now about that and not about anything else.
Okay, that's fair. I just think if I'm Morey and I talk to James, I'm like, dude, I'm trying to get you traded because his quote about him being a liar was about 2 or 3 days after the whole we're taking him off the market.
But this is no different than James can say that, but why does the Sixers put out a report saying that we're not trading him? We need him back at training camp
because they're playing. I would be
just
like,
don't say anything. Just don't say anything.
We're trying to play hardball. We're trying to get them to up their offers and get the hell out of here.
So if we're gonna criticize James for what he said, the Sixers need the same criticism because I got a message from a guy like, why is the Sixers even commenting? Why are they even saying this?
Well, because the offers,
like I said, it came from Woj, so we know it came from the Sixers.
Sure, definitely.
So why are they making that comment? Just don't say anything.
Because they were trying to get some leverage back. They're bad offers. And it's like, you know what? We're done dealing with you. We're done.
Okay, so once you say that to the Clippers, then what do we need to say it to Woj for? Okay, so you can have Woj put out a comment for you, and he's an insider, and he just all of a sudden gets inside information from the air. The only difference is James' quote came from James.
Yeah, I think it's stupid. If
I were the Sixers quote came from Woj.
If I were the Sixers, I would have gotten word to James's agent and been like, "You're going to hear some stuff over the next couple of days. It's bullshit. We're trying to trade him, but we're saying this just to get them to up their offer. Don't take offense to any of it." That's what I would do.
It could have came from the Clippers.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. It could have. Yeah.
So obviously the Harden thing, but everyone's talking about this. His comments about our president being a liar. So my question is, do you think Harden's words is going to make it hard for us to land free agents in the future, especially if our plan is to go out spending in 2024? You think this is going to kind of hinder players from wanting to come to a place where some NBA players consider our GM to be a liar? Do you guys think this is going to hurt future free agents coming to Philadelphia?
Question.
What's that one movie with Cuba Gooding Jr.?
Show Me the Money?
Yeah. And he was agent.
Quan. Jerry Maguire.
Show me the what?
The Quan.
Yeah, that can solve a lot. So that has to be there. Number one. Number two, I don't think it will, because I think that for Philadelphia to get top free agents, it has to be where they want to be. And if they want to be there, I don't think Morey is going to be the reason they go or not go. They want to go to Philly because they want to build something. They, you know what I'm saying? That's, I don't see other than that it happening for a guy as a free agent. Maybe pushing for a trade is different, but as a free agent, it's only few destinations these guys are going to, man, as free agents. And Philadelphia isn't one of them. It just isn't. Because most of the guys that we're talking about as a free agent coming to Philly for that type of player, they usually have the luxury of staying where they are and making more. So it just makes it harder. So that's why I'm like, those guys have to want to go there. And you look at a lot of the top free agents that have been truly free agents, they have gone where they wanted to go. And most of those places are LA, Phoenix, Miami. Like, where else have guys gone as free agents and changed teams? It don't happen.
Chicago sometimes.
When?
DeRozan. Dwayne Wade went there for a stop.
That was different though, because that's his hometown.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like, he loved Chicago. I'm saying he went there for Chicago.
I mean, it's the end of his career. That's what I'm just saying. Like, but we're
DeRozan
talking about
too,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're talking about getting the guy at the top part of his career, making these decisions. And this is where I want to go. That Philly's not a place that they're choosing. It used to be New York. People aren't choosing New York like that either.
I know.
And New York is just begging for guys to come. And they, because people can make so much. It used to be people could make so much more money off the court if they went to New York and places in LA. Now they can do the same thing playing in Minnesota. It don't matter where they play.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter anymore.
So most of the guys aren't going to choose the Northeast. Northeast is a hard area to play in. It's a hard area to play in for different reasons. They're hard on you. The media is hard on you. The fans are hard on you. And the guys know it. So they're not knocking down the door to go play in New York, Philly, and Boston. It's not happening. Yeah, Boston's doing it right now because they drafted some young guys that can play. Yeah. But as free agents, they ain't got no tough top free agents. Yeah. They got Kyrie by trade. They got Kemba by trade. And they drafted the other two guys.
Mm-hmm. Horford chose them twice.
I understand it, but Al's a really good player, but he's not the guy that we're talking about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, the first time he chose them, he was still.
He was a really good player, but I'm saying he's not the free agents like Kawhi. You know what I'm saying? And going there, like LeBron going to LA, and you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, those guys, there's not many of them, one, and they don't become free agents very often, and they don't change teams even less.
Yeah. You know what's ironic is that you said no one's going to not come to Philly or go to Philly because of Daryl Morey. That's exactly why James came. James came to Philly for Daryl Morey.
Yeah, I mean that's because that's their relationship. So that's
a weird situation, though. That's not normal.
So for him to say what he said about him, that's what I'm saying is way bigger than what we know.
Yeah. Well, there was a report that that Clutch wanted an extension for Maxey this year, but then Maxey was apparently indifferent about the whole Harden situation. That was the report.
Well, I don't understand that,
which I found interesting. So,
he was indifferent. It's the same thing you always say, Eric. How like other players don't get involved with the team and other guys' salaries. Like they don't.
You don't do that. You said he didn't want to.
Clutch wanted the Clutch wanted the extension. The whole like wait till next year thing to be able to free up more money. They wanted an extension. Okay. And apparently Maxey was indifferent. That was the report, at least, that came out today. But I think what goes a long way is paying Maxey. Once you pay Maxey, I think it's like, oh, they do open up the checkbook and pay people. So it's not like they do this to everybody. It was maybe just a weird Morey James thing. So I think if Embiid's happy and Maxey becomes happy with his money, I think players won't make this whole Harden Morey thing a deal breaker to go there. But you're right.
I just don't think for the guys like that, like I don't think the guys that you're talking about, I don't think they're going in if their demands are met and the team is structured the way they kind of would hope is going to be structured.
And why not?
Yeah. It may happen, but that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's going to be about him.
Yeah.
It's all about the money.
I think it would be more about the coaching than the GM.
Yeah.
And apparently, Nurse holds his players accountable, unlike other coaches in the league. So I think we're set with Nurse.
He also does a lot of changes in games too, and takes a lot of chances and changes in games.
No other coach does any of that stuff.
Nope. Only coach that changes things and does things differently in games.
Mid-game adjustments. Nick Nurse, the trendsetter. Last topic. So with this whole liar thing in China, everyone's kind of gone to social media to kind of laugh at Harden's ways of getting out of teams. So this is more of a funny thing. Everyone's kind of ranking the best maneuver to get out of a team that Harden's pulled so far. So one's the party tour, the fat suit in Houston thing. That was the one everyone's still. I think it's everyone's favorite still to bring up. The on-court quit in Brooklyn against Sacramento, and then calling Daryl Morey a liar in China. If you were to rank those, which one's probably the we say best here is the question, but
you can have that, Teja.
I'm going the doggy and Morey in China. I think that one is number one. I think a place where they already hate Morey for supporting the Hong Kong protests. And I don't know if I've ever heard a player say that about his, like, at that moment GM. Maybe later on when you're talking about a guy like Paul alluded to, right? But your current GM, I don't know if I've ever heard someone like name call their current GM like that before. And not only is it just a player on GM, it's like it's almost like a friend. It almost feels like a friend betrayed a friend. And it's way more than just a business transaction, right? So you have a standoff between two guys who usually get what they want. Harden plays hardball by not showing up or playing poorly, and Morey will just freeze you out until you give him what he wants. So I think those situations usually call for drastic measures. So, here we are.
Yeah.
When you saw that video, Eric, I'm just curious. Were you like, damn, like that's like, have you ever heard of such a thing or seen such a thing like that where a player's called out like a GM like that? I mean, obviously not.
I don't recall guys saying it publicly like that, but it doesn't surprise me. I know plenty of guys that would do that, or especially them guys that I played with back in the day. Oh, they would do that in a heartbeat. If they felt wrong, if that's how they truly felt, yeah, they would do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
But most of them guys, them old heads that I played with, wouldn't necessarily say it publicly. They'd say it to the guy. They were told during to his face. That's where it's different. Now people want to do it for clicks or whatever and do all that stuff. Walk in his office and telling me a lie.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say that's probably more common than like doing it publicly about
Back then, it was more. You see a lot of that than you do right now.
Crazy, man.
So you weren't that shocked by when you saw the video. You weren't like, holy crap. You were kind of like, I kind of saw this coming.
No, I wasn't shocked at all. That happened. Like, people send me my sons and a couple other people I know send me clips because they always want to be involved with the Sixer drama. Go to the barbershop and take my boys to the barbershop. And they first, as soon as I walk through the door, what your Sixers going to do, man?
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it didn't surprise me for him, especially the way everything's going. And I think the Sixers going public with the we're not going to trade him and he needs to show up at the training camp. That set the tone for a response from James.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
So because like I said, we all know that from Woj, that came from the Sixers. There's no need for them to make that comment. So you're basically saying, we ain't got to trade you, show up. You got a little control this year now with the collective bargaining agreement. So now you want to make all these comments.
Yeah. By the time we meet next week, do you think there's going to be any movement at all on this? No.
Next week, no.
Hell no.
I'm still firm that trade doesn't happen until after Dame Lillard's traded.
Damn.
I'm gonna still stay by that.
Yeah, and apparently Harden's considered playing in China. That was also another report that came out this week that you failed to mention in your timeline, Teja. Harden considered.
Oh yeah, you're right. But he can't. He can't do that. If he doesn't show up, he can't play professionally anywhere.
How the Sixers can how can an NBA team mandate that if he's going to go overseas and he just like bails on?
I don't know. I mean, you can get the right lawyer that can get you out of that.
But that wouldn't be a good look for him if he ever wanted to come back to the NBA.
I mean, technically, it's all about a lot of the rules or leagues are like, I know with FIBA they try not to honor a contract with the league if it's some conflict and vice versa. But I don't know about going to China. I think China, goes to the beat of their own drum.
Yeah, they might do that.
I don't know. I don't know that they're gonna be able to tell them. Like, nah,
You're not telling me who to sign.
We're taking them. Y'all figure that out later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Dwight Howard was trying to recruit him to his team after he made those comments about Morey.
Let's see.
They're forming a super team over there. All right, guys. Well, that does it for us. We'll see you guys next week on another Days of Our Lives of the Philadelphia 76ers. So
take it easy.
See you guys
later, guys.